Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. It is summertime in Newburyport, and you know what that means. Plumfest is right around the corner. Always very exciting. Today we got the president of Plumfest, Shannon Kinney, in the house again. How are you, Shannon?
I am great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. I know you're very busy. It's a beautiful day. It's summertime, so thanks for making some time. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Plumfest. I know. I would say like the planning as well is almost. I know it's almost done in my head. You've been doing this for so long already, right? I mean,
yes.
It's if you're starting now, you're late to the game. This is a project. This thing.
It's true. There are a group of volunteers that we work year-round to put the event on.
Yeah. How? Like, give me an idea. So last year's Plumfest was what date?
Last year it was September 14th, I think. This year it's September 13th, okay. Saturday.
So last year, September 14th, are you already like, do you take a couple days and then you're right back at the planning? Is that how it works?
We have our
September
post-mortem like a couple days after, yes.
Okay, and you're right back at it.
Yeah.
How many bands this year?
We're going to have approximately 100 bands.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At about 50 locations all over the island. We're still solidifying host spots.
Yep.
But we've got a really great lineup already.
Okay. Now, does that band number get bigger every year?
We are oversubscribed every year.
Okay.
Yes. We get more applications than we can take, and it really comes down to how many hosts we have that can have the bands and how long that they can host the event. So.
Okay. Wow. So, and you said about 50 hosts. So if you,
yes,
I know you hate saying no to worthy acts.
We definitely do.
Painful.
So we are still taking applications for bands, hosts, and volunteers until about late July.
Okay. And
then we do the magic matching. And in mid-August, we announce to everybody what the locations are going to be.
All right, which is an exciting reveal, as
yes,
they say, right?
It is.
What's the 50? Like, are you hoping that more host sites jump on board? Because does that open up more? Give you a little freedom, I guess?
Yes, more hosts are always a help. And, all we really need for a great host property is a space for people to watch the music where they're not in the street.
Yes. Yep.
That's the biggest piece, and a willingness to do it. Our hosts are really what makes the event possible. And then the idea that so many bands are interested in volunteering their time is just phenomenal.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me, too, like, so Plumfest, I think you worded it this way. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said it's kind of based off the Porch Fest idea, right?
It's part of the Porch Fest movement.
Yes,
and
the Porch Fest movement. I like that.
Yes, and our founders, Cynthia and Kevin, really wanted to establish Plum Island as a music destination. Mm-hmm. And so they started it. This is our 10th year, so we're celebrating 10 years this year. They started it in 2015 to try to bring Porch Fest to Plum Island.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It's a very beautiful Porch Fest. Let me tell you.
It sure is.
It has to be, actually, if you think about it, it has to be one of the best ones. I mean,
it is a fantastic event.
Cities have a lot of them too, so it's like that's kind of cool in its own vibe, city feel.
Somerville is one of the best known ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the one? That's the one that Guster played at a couple years ago, right? And I remember, that was funny. I wonder how you feel about this. This is a little bit of diverging off the path a little bit, but that's what we do here. So I was like, oh, how cool! Guster went back to their roots and did the whole thing, and all these people came. I actually heard some criticism though, because people were like, why do they have to do that? Like, this is supposed to be for the people who haven't made it. And I'm sure you know the whole story. What's your overall vibe when you saw that little controversy come out as
Well, I think it's exciting that they wanted to authentically connect with their audience, and it's hard to blame them for wanting to do that.
Yeah.
And the Porch Fest team in Somerville had already got a great lineup of a lot of local acts as well.
Yeah.
And for us, we're looking for bands that have played before, bands that are as local as possible.
Yeah.
We give special props to young artists that are up and coming, but also if they have a host already. So if a band comes and says, I already have a place to play, that they're in.
Okay.
Like, that's the big thing.
If you can do the work, right?
That's right.
To give me a little schedule and you're in. That's
exactly.
Awesome. That's funny. I like your answer too on Somerville, because the Guster thing was interesting. And I kind of thought the complaints were probably more in the minority, because I imagine more people at those things, you're going to discover bands you didn't know anyway, right? The more people, the more discoveries you make.
Exactly. So. And it's about the experience too. Just the idea. for those of us who are passionate about music, that you can walk around a space and see a lot of live music everywhere with all these other people who are passionate about live music. It's kind of hard to beat.
No doubt. Shannon Kinney, president of Plumfest here. And you do make a good point. That was something that I think at least first time I met you, really came across. All your organizers, led by you, but the whole team, like everybody likes to, it's not just clocking in, clocking out. They want to go see the shows. Like these are actual music fans that put this together,
Yes. Yeah. In fact, the person that's leading our band experience this year is in one of the bands. So
there you go.
You can't get somebody with more knowledge than that.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
People, I think you joked once that if you don't want to be a part of Plumfest and you live on the island, you pretty much leave, right? That's kind of the deal.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. And I get it. We're lucky that the residents of Plum Island support what we're doing.
Yep.
And because it is incredibly disruptive if you don't want to join in the fun.
I mean, you take over the island.
We take over the island quite a bit. And this year, one thing that's new for 2025 is we had to launch an entire traffic and safety team because of our success. We have one way in and one way out, and we encourage people not to bring cars.
Yep.
We provide free shuttles and parking, but it still caused quite a bit of a hullabaloo that we have done a lot of work this winter to make sure we can take care of and fix this year.
Yeah, I remember last year, in your postmortem, you were telling me one of the things you were hoping to get the shuttles either moving quicker or more shuttles. I forget what it was you
Starting
said.
Sooner. We're going to start an hour sooner this year. And also we've created an entirely different parking bank for bands, volunteers, and others who are coming so that we can try to provide as much parking as we can for our guests.
Yeah.
And have a couple of options there because we filled right up at the Plum Island Airport, which is where the parking is.
It is, yes. Mm-hmm. It's where Livingston Taylor flew into this show. Did I ever tell you that story?
You did tell me that story. I love that. And you went and picked him up.
I did. And dropped him off. That was my favorite line, was when he was walking away with his guitar right before I left. And I think I took a picture of him because I was like, when am I going to get a chance to snap Livingston Taylor and his guitar walking on his little airplane? And he turned around and he goes, hey, before you leave, Drew, can you just make sure my plane starts? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I can't.
Don't strand me here.
I know. I was like, make sure the plane starts. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I can't help you anymore. You're flying the thing. What an interesting story, though.
That's hilarious.
Pilot and all that, Livingston Taylor. But it's a crazy day. One thing, I've been to it a few times now. And like last year, I had a friend with a golf cart there so I was able to kind of buzz around a little bit more. I don't think I ever realized how far down it goes.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And we're really only touching one side of the island.
Yeah. Because
it's just too hard to get the crowds around both sides. But it goes all the way to the very end of the island.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the way down. It's remarkable to see. And I will say, every little place, even the smallest decks with duos or whatever, solo artists, like they all had crowds. It was like everybody, like you almost walk by and like, oh, there's not a huge crowd here. This person's great. Let's give them a little attention.
Yes,
kind of nice.
Yeah, and a lot of the bands do a great job about giving shout outs to their fans when they're going to be there.
Yes, and
we try to publish the lineup well in advance so people can plan their day and like map their walk.
Yep. It's all. It's a fantastic. Any besides the parking thing, is there anything in particular you're excited about this year that you already know is baked and ready to go?
Well, we have a few exciting things. This is going to be the very first year we're going to have a program available for people, which will have a little bit of our 10 years of history. We're going to have a program. I have a whole team working on that. They're great. We're going to be announcing and selling a 10th anniversary poster that was designed by a Newburyport high school student. We had an art contest and some great submissions, and we have a brand new T-shirt this year.
Also, isn't that always created by somebody local?
I do an art contest, and we had a local. It's actually a Plum Islander won that. So we have some really exciting things that'll be announced on our Facebook and Instagram pages in the coming weeks.
Very cool. All right, so keep an eye on that. As far as and give the date again for people that if they want to play, if there's musicians out there listening.
Submit your stuff before the end of July at plumfest.org.
Right, so you got a month or so here.
That's
less
right.
than a month. Get on that.
Sooner the better.
Sooner the better. ASAP. Get it in because you're booking up fast.
Yes.
What would be the thing besides I think you've had pretty good weather. 9 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Is that safe to say?
We've only had rain one year.
That one damn year. Was it 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm. It was in the late 2000s. I didn't live here then. That one. I wasn't here then, but I've got a lot of video. I want to say it was 2017.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, 2 years ago we had the hurricane wipe us out.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking.
Yes, that's the one you're thinking of.
I mean, you still did a smaller version.
We did a
with
smaller
backup plans.
version. Yeah, it was for the safety of the bands. The wind and rain on electric equipment is not a good combo.
Well, I remember that. You know what I remember about that? That morning I don't think I knew if you had made the decision yet, and I was busy the day before. I don't even remember when you made the decision, but I remember waking up and just wondering, ooh, that's today. I wonder if they're going to go through. And first thing I literally turned on my TV, and the guy from Channel 5 was on Plum Island.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's not good.
And I remember you came down and was looking at the weather. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So the big change we've made now is we have a rain date, which is the next day.
Yeah.
So our rain date is September 14th, and we ask every host and every band and every volunteer, are you willing to serve Sunday if Saturday doesn't happen? We didn't have anything like that before. So with that kind of weather report, we had no choice but to cancel.
Sure. All right. So it's September 13th this year with the rain date. Let's not even talk about that for now.
I know.
It's September 13th.
Don't put it out to the universe.
That's great. It's always the Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So September 13th is Saturday, so very good. What is the team? Any team changes this year? You got the same group? Is it pretty much the same faces, or do you make additions?
Well, we did have a couple of changes. I took over as president. I was vice president for the past few years.
I was wondering when you were going to touch on that. Okay.
I'm really excited to be called to serve such a wonderful organization.
Yeah.
And we've also expanded our team. So now we have people leading the host experience. Greg Higginbotham, who's a longtime host, is now leading the host experience to make sure that he can really get in the heads of whatever they need and do everything he can to help them. Chris Manning joined. He's from Charlie and the Hustle, and he's leading our bands experience. And we have a lot of other new people joining our team. But those two roles were never roles in their own before, and it's really exciting to see all the great innovations that those two are doing.
And it's all like volunteer driven. Like these projects are amazing to me. Like when they're so big that like the idea that it's people that just community people that come in and help and put this thing together, like it always amazes me. Like because it's an army. Like, it's not no small project here.
Yeah, it's like throwing a party for several thousand people.
That is well said. Yep, a beach party in a lot of cases.
A beach party,
This is even more difficult in some ways.
Yeah, and last year we donated more than $26,000 to our beneficiary, which was the Boys and Girls Club of Lower Merrimack Valley, and we've supported them a lot over the years to build a great music room and podcast studio and equipment over there for young musicians, and so we do it because we love live music in the day, but also because we love giving back.
Yeah, that knows what with the Boys and Girls Club of them being the beneficiary, they have so many workers out there too. I saw kids out there.
That's right. They bring their own team.
Yeah.
Which we really, really appreciate because it's all it takes a lot of work to throw a party like that and then clean up after.
No doubt. Yeah. There you go. I saw a lot of trash pickup. That was good. And that's actually a good thing to say too, isn't it? Like just leave your footprints behind. Like I know a lot of times people don't mean to do it, but like if you have to be extra conscious of it, if you know you're kind of that person, then be extra conscious.
Absolutely. Yeah. And every host provides multiple garbage opportunities.
Yeah.
And they're all over the island.
What a way to phrase that. Multiple.
A lot of spaces for you to drop your stuff, but
multiple garbage opportunities. I don't think I've ever heard a funnier combination of words.
But I love it when you'll see people bring coolers and wagons in and just put their own trash back in and take it right back out. We appreciate it because, the island is a special and fragile ecosystem.
Yes. It is funny when people, because, people like to enjoy themselves and have a few drinks or whatever. And people sometimes with that comes sloppiness and forgetfulness.
A lot of fun.
Yes, and that too, which is the main point of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's just not for your festival though. It's a good thing. I was actually at a show. I just told you I was at Counting Crows the other night, and I stayed just for a few minutes because I was talking with a girl who got a set list and the drums, and she was a funny little interview. It was cute, but the place had cleared out, and I was like, I can't believe how much crap people leave behind.
It's crazy how people just lose their mind about that stuff.
I don't know. It seems odd to me, if nothing else. But yeah.
Yeah.
Any festival, anything you go to, you know, I always like that saying, leave only your footprints behind. I think
exactly.
That's all right, very good. Shannon Kinney, president of Plumfest. This has been fantastic. We're kind of, I don't think we're early to be talking about this. I was talking to you about this. You're like, there's always something to talk about. You have a lot of artists playing on the island that are kind of like, I don't know if is it officially associated with Plumfest, or do you just like having the artists that are going to be a part of Plumfest? They tend to be a part of the community anyway. I see them popping up all over the place.
We do. We get a lot of our bands involved. In fact, Charlie and the Hustle is going to play at a fundraiser we're having August 16th. Okay. And they played at one we just did. So we do have some of the bands that are extra passionate and volunteering even more of their time to help us promote the event and create the revenue it takes to sustain the event.
Of the 100 plus bands that are at Plumfest, do you know like the geography off the top of your head? Is it mostly New England? Do we go outside of New England?
It's mostly New England, and in fact, the more local they are, the higher the chances they'll get accepted.
Yes.
So because we have, typically we have 50 plus extra bands apply. So
you have to say no to 50 bands?
We have to say no to.
Oh, that hurts.
It's tough. And we look at all their music, and there's some really great bands that want to be part of the event. So I always say, sorry we had to say no, but if you know a host, you're in. If they find somebody on the island that can have them, and we already have 2 bands that found a host already, and when their application came in, it said, here's where we're playing.
So it does happen.
It does happen.
Very good. It's not, your chances haven't died on the vine.
That's right.
No knocking on random people's doors, apparently. Hey, will you host me?
Look for a great deck.
Yeah, it is good. It's an amazing thing. So 50 bands you have to say no to, though. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And they're probably all talented. Who's the board that has to go through the whole... you get a sample,
There's a few of us that are part of that process, and it's really tough.
Is it listening? Is it videos? Like, what's the...
We ask for submissions, so they either submit SoundCloud or videos or both. And like I said, we start with criteria. Have they played before? We have some bands that have played at every single Plumfest, so they obviously get top choice. Are they young? Is there some youth talent tie-in? Do they have a host already? Those are 3 automatics, and then we look at the talent and try to find the right matches with the hosts that we have available.
Amazing. Yeah. How would you say, like on a scale of 1 to 10? Let me phrase it a different way. Numbers are silly. Let's not do this. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on you. Are there ever days where you're just like, this festival is driving me crazy? There, I simplified the question for you.
It is a tremendous amount of work.
That's what I mean.
And
I would definitely have those days, by the way.
Yeah, I feel super fortunate. We expanded our team this year, and to a lot of really talented folks who are all signing up for their different areas. And so I admit this year I feel really good about where we're going. There are days where all of us are like, wow, this is tough. But we're getting there.
I know what it's like booking my little show. And this might come as a shock to the audience here, but sometimes, not very rarely, but sometimes musicians, things come up. And sometimes they don't make this show when they say they're going to make this show. So I just can imagine when you're booking 100 bands, there are some headaches.
Last year at Plumfest, we were already having shuttle buses running and a band canceled. Yeah. Like day of, time of.
Who was it? No, just kidding. You don't have to say.
They are not on our list for this year.
I would imagine so. Yes. That is... I will say, like, just knowing that industry, like, it is kind of like you don't really do that.
Right. It's really hard. And I felt bad for the host who had spent days preparing their property to have guests. And, it was a lot of work on their part to have that happen. But on the other hand, we have 99 plus that everybody shows up. They're all volunteering their time. The hosts don't get paid. The bands don't get paid. The volunteers don't get paid. And everybody's just there to create a really great experience and raise some money.
I like to think that bands and artists realize the domino effect, but I do think sometimes they don't. Or maybe it's just selfish. I don't know. But there was a major act, not Boston Garden, but big act that was playing in Boston, touring the country a few months ago. I'll give you that it was a she, and she canceled at the very last minute. People were in the place, almost a packed venue. And sick, okay, if you get sick and you can't sing, I get it. Very next night on one of the late night shows.
Oh, that's
and
baloney.
That rubbed me the wrong way.
Absolutely.
You're in New York City, and they don't film those things at midnight. They film them at like
right.
4 p.m.
Right.
So you're ready to go at 4 p.m., but you couldn't play for your
thousands
fans that were in
Yeah.
So that one bugged me.
Yeah, I can see why.
You know, and I wasn't going, but it was from a distance. I was like, I do not like that when you get a packed stadium of your fans, and then you say at the last minute, they literally put it on the board. So
this says something about an artist.
I know. And then in that community, like you don't have them on the Plumfest schedule this year, whoever that was, like you do become less trustworthy. Like, you know, I don't know. That's how I feel anyway.
Right. Especially when we're saying no to so many bands, we want to make sure people who care about the event are included.
The domino effect. Okay, there's the bad side of the business, people. Mostly everybody's great.
I get it.
It really is true. I've never had people laugh at me. They're like, oh, you must get some like egos and some tough personalities in there. Like, I don't know how you feel about Plumfest, but like I never get that. Almost everybody who comes in here is like gracious and happy and playing music and talking, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons we work so hard to put on the event is it's amazing seeing that many people, all just good vibes all day.
Yeah.
You know, people are so happy to be there. They're with their families. They're with their friends. They make events of it. And I love seeing all that joy and generosity. You know, we pass the red buckets for our beneficiaries and people show up. And it's wonderful to just be surrounded by that.
It is, yeah. I was the guy who was driving me around in the golf cart. I made a joke on last Plumfest day that I don't think you've stopped smiling all day. And like, I don't even know how much. It wasn't even like he was like jumping into all the sets. He was kind of on the golf cart chatting to people. It's a social scene too.
Yes, everybody's really, really happy.
Yeah, and well, it's a happy place anyway, right? It is one of the greatest, most unique places I think around. Maybe one of the most unique places in New England, Plum Island, don't you think?
It's definitely a unique ecosystem, that's for sure. And it's a full of people. Like one of the reasons I was attracted to it is so many people who live there are architecting their life the way they want it. You know, they're either inviting more music into their life or more relaxation or fun or, you know, working from home from a beautiful place. Like everybody's pretty purposeful and it creates a really great environment.
You know what I found? I was there a couple weeks ago, and you know, unfortunately, I have to mention it was after a tragedy. We had the swimmers there, and but when something like that happens, and I think 2 people ended up dying there in the water, which is people should not take that water for granted, right? And it's like that whole community. I could feel it that people were hurt by that.
Yes.
Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was trying to tell other people, like, you got to be careful out there. Like you cannot take. It's the mighty end of the Merrimack, like, you know.
Yes.
And it was interesting to feel like that pain of the whole island. I thought. I mean, you know it better than I do, but
that was really tough, and it's people just don't understand the ocean and the river are meeting, and you need to have a lot of respect. For the ocean there.
Do you have to? I mean, I know people aren't running out on the beach during Plumfest, but do you have to actually warn people about that? I mean, there's enough action on the beach, right?
Yeah. We do give people some tips about watching for undertow. There's no lifeguards anywhere on the island, and in that particular instance, they were in a really kind of dangerous spot.
Bad spot.
That happened. But we don't have a lot of bands on the beach anymore. We don't bring a lot of anything anywhere too close to the dunes. Everything's at someone's house now to try to keep it safe.
Is that really just a safety thing?
It's a safety thing, but also just there's a lot of nature preserve there. There's birds nesting, there's dunes you can't climb on, and we just really want our festival to be respecting that and keeping traffic and under control where people are supposed to be.
Taking it to the streets
with
beautiful views still. Last part, we'll end on a nice little uplifting note. What are you most looking forward to? I know you got great musical taste, so I usually try to steer me in good directions. Sometimes you got to go see.
There's a few bands that are really going to be great, but I can't announce the lineup much. I will tell you I'm going to see Charlie the Hustle.
That's right.
On Old Point Road. On Southern Boulevard, 179 Southern Boulevard. I think
texting-
is that location. Sorry, I'm trying to remember my map in my head.
I was texting with Charlie this morning, actually.
Oh, that's
We're going to
great.
get him back on soon before Plum Fest.
That band actually was started at Plum Fest, which is one of the reasons it's one of our favorites.
Oh, no kidding.
So Charlie's been a longtime performer, and at the house he was performing at, he was mentioning to the host, geez, I need to pull more of a band together. And the host is like, well, I play the drums. And so he brought his drum kit out and sat in, and then one of his friends jumped on the bass, and the band was born.
Awesome.
For Plum Fest 2 years ago. So
I did not know that
yeah,
story.
it's one of our favorites.
I'm going to drill him with that when Charlie comes on next
He'll
time.
love to tell you that story.
All right, September
13th.
And that's the only date we're talking about for
That's
Plum
right.
Fest.
That's right.
It's going to be a beautiful day. I've already seen the forecast. It's
Indeed.
the 100-day forecast or whatever
Yes.
that is. And you have like another couple weeks here, guys. If you want to be a part of it, send your submissions in. If you're a musician and you're intrigued by this, which you definitely should be, everybody should experience it if you're a musician around these parts. It is an amazing take and an amazing day. Plum Fest 2025, getting ready to go.
That's
We'll probably have you back on before we get into it, but it's always
Great.
nice to kind of feel where things are at because it is such a big part of the community. Plum Fest here. Thank you, Shannon Kinney.
Thank you for having me.
President of Plum Fest right there. That was a blast. Maeve Power, thank you. She's been very busy lately. I've been kind of a pain in the neck with scheduling. I will just forwardly admit that. So thank you, Maeve, for dealing with me. Summertime. I'm brutal. I'm terrible. I don't know how she does it. Thank you, Maeve, and thank you to Sarah Hayden, the boss, who just had a birthday recently. So a lot going on here in the studios. We appreciate you. Happy summer, everybody. Live at Drew's house. Peace.